Good afternoon, everyone. You're welcome to the Dukia Gold World Press Conference. And we thank you so much for taking our time to attend our weekly webinars. While we wait for few others to join the webinar, my name is Emmanuel Nwaka. Work at Dukia Gold, headed by Mr. Tunde Fambemi, Chairman, and this is Bose Oluwolabi, the Managing Director. So we just wait for everyone to just join the meeting, then we kickstart as soon as possible. Thank you so much.
Good morning once again, everyone. Thank you, Emmanuel, for welcoming us. We are Dukia Gold, and we continue to thank each and every one of you for the great work that is done by you as stakeholders in ensuring that our gold trading platform becomes and retains the premier position as the source of buying credible investment grade gold. We're also grateful for your feedbacks, especially as it relates to further improve that have. We remain committed to assuring and ensuring that you get the very best in terms of service. We are also extremely committed to ensuring that we bring up-to-date news and information to all of you, such that at all you are in a premier position in getting what is best. Please, when you join, mute your microphone or let the host keep everybody muted so that it's easier for us to be able to have the workshop going. So host, please take charge and mute microphones that are not talking. Critical also workshop is to continue to urge every Nigerian to pay particular attention to what I call world affairs and world economics. The world is rapidly changing. Old allies and old fault lines are getting to have seismic shift across the world. For the very first time, Europe is being described as an organization that was set up to basically debase America, which I find very fundamental in thought process by the American leader. There are many surrounding debt and debt burden across the poorer South nations, and that is an issue. There are also many other economic indices that are shifting, especially in terms of tariff and trade. Because those issues are becoming fundamental across the world, everyone is trying to put a shelter on himself or herself in the belief that if there is trouble, where can I run to? Because the world has moved from where we used to trade by barter, the world has moved to paper money, which is fiat currency, which basically says, I promise to you maybe £1 of gold, or I promise to pay you $1 in currency, or I promise to pay to you 1 yen in currency, if all things are equal. What the world is now witnessing is a world where nations, whether it's China, India, America, Europe, are beginning to stock up on gold for obvious technical reasons. They are beginning to have border posts where tariff and all manners of taxes and restrictions are being to be muted into what ordinarily would have been a free trade zone, and or where the World Trade Organization and the OECD, including General Administration of Tariffs and Trade, would have been allowed to govern on a multilateral and very free society, is now being replaced largely by a very difficult set of unilateral rules and actions, especially America, is leading to a lot of new reciprocal tariff. When you tariff of 25% on any good, what would happen is that on the shelf, that good is being bought and or sold, it's obvious one thing is bound to happen. The only thing that is bound to happen is somebody needs to recover that tariff. Nobody needs to pay for that extra cost. The person who needs to recover the tariff, of course, is the person who is selling the product, and the person who needs to pay for a higher price is me and you who are consuming the product. Therefore, we see a very difficult situation where there will be increase in inflation across the world. But congratulations, Nigeria has been able to bring its tariff in line with international standards before now. And we're also lucky that of recent we rebased our economy and also rebased our food basket so that we were able to recalculate our inflation. Our inflation rate technically has come from 37% back to 24, but how sustainable would that be over the period? We all don't know. But again, because the world is looking fairly shaky, we think inflation may return to Europe. It has already returned to Japan. Japan is used to be at 0 inflation, is now at 3.2. America used to be at 2, is now at 3. Europe nearly missed a few, but definitely Germany is back now from its political uncertainty to development. Europe minus Britain is also back again to the final reality that both France and Germany will run on a hung government, which will have difficult and stormy sessions in parliament. Their good old friends used to be America. They need to renegotiate quite a lot of things with them. Canada, that was basically stable and playing the game of an European country on a American continent and having its largest neighbor as America trading freely, is beginning to see the problem of trades and tariff. And because all of those are happening around the world, it's imperative that, again, we re-emphasize that the world is a new place. The world is a better place, and the world indeed needs for each and every one of us who have any need, howsoever, to protect health, to begin to look beyond fiat currency, begin to look at alternate asset class to protect his wealth, and then we move forward. Having provided the background in terms of the economy, I believe that today's workshop is actually related to gold as a retirement asset. And we'll be talking to you about the many strategies for medium and long-term wealth preservation. Because we'll be talking to you about long-term wealth and long preservation, we will be showing you that for everyone who is born, there is a time to be born, of course. There is a time to school, learn, and there's a time when you have to work, and then there's a time when you need to save towards the what called the rainy day. The most important part and aspect of life is that when you finally give up work, it's not as if you are dead. It's just now you have a newer living. You better have enough money and or wealth to have your lifestyle and your lifestyle habits. How do you do that? Some put their money in cash and they buy a lot of cash and fiat currency related matters. At our last workshop, we were able to show you what inflation does to interest rate. If inflation is at 24%, which they say it is now, and they're giving you interest rate on your savings account of 8%, what it means is that your real rate of return is negative. If you are buying stocks and shares, and your stocks and shares is basically returning 4% net, what it means is that your stocks and shares, rather than making you wealthy, is actually making you poorer. You have a negative yield on your asset. For the opportune time, anytime you see an elevated inflation and you look at the return on your investment, quickly do your calculation. For you to be on top of what will add value to you, you must at all times have a higher return than inflation. Anytime inflation is higher than what you are making, definitely what is happening is that you are losing assets, you are losing wealth, and you are basically depreciating in value. Because what it means is what is in your hand at the beginning of the year may not be able to buy what you need to buy at the end of the year. It's basically what inflation does. The second thing that inflation gets compounded with is what they call political and geopolitical uncertainty. The world hasn't seen this quantum of political uncertainty in a very, very long time. And to the extent that that political uncertainty is beginning to rear its ugly head at extremely elevated levels, I think it's imperative that we begin to prepare not for a world war in terms of shooting guns and things, but there will be an economic war amongst nations. We've seen nations go to other nations now asking to have mineral rights. You cannot have mineral rights without being able to put your foot on ground, your machinery on ground, digging other people's soil, and basically exporting that product from their country to your country because you think you have a right to do so. Definitely, one day somebody's going to stand up and say, no, you can't take my property, and then it may evolve into economic uncertainty. It's also critical that we begin to see what's happening to the trade corridors. Panama Canal is a very good example, certain that very soon the Suez Canal would also come into play. There are issues already around South Africa, and as you know, the South African trade route for the ocean freighters is extremely important. You cannot leave Asia and try to travel south without wanting to do bunker service, do your servicing, pick fuel, pick food, do chandling in a South African port before you continue your trip. So when we see these many huge cases of uncertainty in what me and you are taking for granted, we must begin to worry ourselves. Am I prepared for my retirement? If you are, trust me, what you thought you were prepared for 10 years ago is going to be new, given the current circumstances. You need to reassess your retirement strategy. You have to ask yourself, what is that retirement strategy in the immediate, and what's that retirement strategy on the long term? At the end of the day, we're all in this world to do two things: live long and live life to the fullest. God is kind, He will give all of us good health, but we had better also be worthy enough to have enough wealth to be able to at least buy the necessary medicines and the necessary comfort of old age, and also pay for those things that you really, really need in your old age. If you're at work, of course, your employer would have put you with your retirement plan. And if you happen to be a self-made employer, you yourself had better care for yourself in your retirement. At this time, I believe I would like to hand over the microphone for the formal commencement of the program today. The MD and presenter, over to you. Like I did advise, please let's mute every microphone that is joining so that we can have a quiet session as we progress. And also, please ensure and assure that everyone is comfortable and we are able to proceed quickly and rapidly with the presentation. Once again, welcome to Dukia Gold. Good morning, everyone, and good afternoon, wherever you may be, whether in Europe, America, and Asia, or Africa. Good afternoon and good morning once again. I yield the microphone to MD.
Thank you so much, Chairman, for giving those opening remarks. And as he rightly said, he has ushered us into the formal presentation. Now, what's the title of today's webinar? Today's webinar is talking on gold as a retirement asset, strategies for medium and long-term wealth preservation. Now, when we talk of retirement, it doesn't actually sound as an exciting word to people of below 45. But retirement is something that you need to start planning in your 20s, even before you even get a job, even while you finish school, because you'll be saving for that time. You will eventually reach a point in time where you will not be able to work as extensively as possible. So in this webinar, I'm going to be making some forward-looking statements and using some formal terminologies. As advised, we are not investment advisors. Dukia Gold is not an investment advisor. We are a bullion merchant. And if you need to actually make precautionary measures towards your investments, please consult your financial advisor. Absolutely. Now, this is the team currently heading us. You've heard from our chairman, Mr. Babatunde Fabemi. Our MD is also available, Mrs. Bose Owolabi, and our Chief Operating Officer, together with all the other team members that are not structured there, all the geologists, all the mining professionals, and all the in-house personnel that are making this presentation come to work. Now, what are the aim and objectives of this presentation? It's to actually show you why you should plan and prepare for your retirement using gold. At first, you have to define what is retirement and when, why, and how do you retire. Now, next, we will now define why traditional retirement strategies may not be enough. Okay, what retirement allocations are actually done by the Nigerian Pension Commission for you in preparation against your retirement. We'll take a quick overview of Nigerian retirement industry, especially the PEMCON, and we'll actually do some analysis why gold can potentially positively impact the Nigerian retirement industry. Now, we'll actually make some recommendations for you as an individual and both for international organizations like the Nigerian Pension Commission to actually include gold as a form of retirement assets. Next, we'll look why gold is essential for retirement planning. What makes gold unique for retirement planning? Is it actually better than stocks? Is it actually better than real estate? Is it better than cash? So what makes gold essential for retirement planning? Then we will now address common concerns. Okay, I want to start saving in gold. What are some of the concerns I should have and risks that I should actually use to make gold become a valuable retirement asset? Next, we'll conclude and we'll head over to the question and answer sessions. Now, to do the formal welcome address, I'm going to invite the Managing Director of Dukia Gold to actually address us. MD,
Good afternoon, everyone. And it's my pleasure to welcome you to this seminar. And I hope that it will be very enlightening for you. And you will all get one or two things. We are all going to retire at some point, and it's important that we plan well ahead. And gold is one of the ways that we believe we can all plan ahead for our retirement for so many reasons, which are related to the benefits that gold investments bring to the table. Emmanuel will take us through, and as usual, at the end, we'll take questions, and then that's that we'll have. And then I hope that this is as insightful for you and that you would find it um, you will enjoy it, and then you'll get your feedback at the end. Have a wonderful time listening to Emmanuel. Emmanuel, I hand over to you.
Thank you so much, Ma, for the welcome address. And as you rightly said, let's kickstart into the presentation. Now, first and foremost, what is retirement? What does it mean for someone to actually retire? Retirement is the phase of life when an individual stops working full-time and relies on savings, pension, and investment to support their financial needs. Even though you get to work at 18, at 20 years old, there will actually be a point in your life where the energy will not be there, the speed will not be there, your body will not be as fit enough to actually keep working. And that point in time is the phase of your life called retirement. And all you've eventually built over the years through your savings, through your pensions, and through your investments will be needed to keep you actually active in that your retirement age. Now, a lot of countries have defined retirement formats, and the retirement age in Nigeria is between 60 to 65 years old. Now, what are the key aspects of retirement? One of the biggest key aspects of retirement is financial independence. That means you are not actively working and expecting a formal salary at the end of the month. They are now living off your savings, they are now living off your investments, they are living off your funds instead of a regular paycheck at the end of the month. And you actually need to structure your finances in such a way that you can be able to maintain your lifestyle without struggles. There are various types of retirement plans. There are government and private pensions. Those are retirement plans that are actually structured by the government for you in case you retire. Now, you can actually structure your own retirement plan through your personal savings and investments, either stocks, bonds, and real estate. And you can actually structure your retirement plan through business and passive income. And one of the joyful things about retirement is that you can begin to pursue either hobbies, engage in volunteer, and actually do the things that a formal work experience will not allow you to do. Like we have so many of them in Nigeria who have written books, who have written webinars, who have gone to other places, who have even traveled, or who have engaged in some kind of voluntary service to community. Now, we have a typical life cycle of an individual. You have a preconception stage when your parents are planning for you, you're expecting to have a baby. Now, we then have your birth when you are eventually born into the world. That's age 0. Then from age 1 to 18 years or 1 to 25 years, you have your formative years where you are engaging in school and gathering all the necessary skills you need to actually sustain yourself for an extended period of time. You are learning how to read, how to write, how to think, how to develop yourself, and how to speak. Then you have your employment. Please mute your audio. You have your employment years. You have your employment years. This is where you begin to accumulate savings. We begin to form capital, and you actually create a necessary means for you to build an investment portfolio. Then for your employment years, you now have the retirement, where you actually now come to the phase of your life where you are now retired. And this, from retirement, you now have your debts, hopefully when you leave this world. So this life cycle refers to different individual stages from financial journey, from conception to retirement. And to actually survive each of these stages, from preconception to birth, formative years to employment years and retirement, there need to be finances, adequate planning, saving, and investing at each stage of that life cycle to make sure that your retirement is worthwhile. So retirement is not something that you begin planning at age 60, because at age 60, we are expecting to retire. So at the beginning of your life, you need to start planning towards your retirement and ensuring that the proper financial intelligence is done to make sure that you can adequately survive in your retirement. Next, we have a typical word used by retirees. It's called a pension. Now, what actually is a pension? A pension is a financial arrangement that provides regular income to individuals after they retire from active employment. If you have grandparents or parents who have actually retired, you notice that at the end of the month, there's some kind of regular income that comes to them. They are not actively working for the federal government or for an employer, but they receive regular financial income to just help them become stable and secure during that phase of retirement. That kind of financial income that comes is called a pension. Now, there are different types of pensions structured by the government. The first is a contributory pension scheme. Now, when you actually get a job in Nigeria, your employer actually mandates, the employer is mandated to provide a percentage of your salary towards retirement. And in Nigeria, this is structured by the Nigerian Pension Commission under the Pension Reform Act of 2014. So even if you get work today at a regular place, at a place of work, your employer under the Pension Reform Act is mandated to contribute towards your retirement. So even if you don't want to do that by yourself, your employer is mandated by the law to contribute towards that. Now we have the defined benefit pension, where the retiree receives fixed amount based on their salary history and years of service. And this is used in government or old corporate pension schemes, where the pension is not adequately mandated by law, but is structured in a way by the government to make sure that against that retirement period, you receive regular income. And the next, we have the micro pension plan for self-employed. Okay, you can say, oh, I have a business filled with like 5 to 10 people. And what makes me think that I should actually start contributing towards the pension scheme when I'm an employer of labor? You can actually dive into the micro pension plan, and it's designed for self-employed individuals who can voluntarily contribute towards their retirement. Since we all know it's an established fact that every one of us is going to retire, self-employed individuals and people can just volunteer to structure their finances against those retirement periods. Next, we have the occupational or private pension plans, where in some companies, organizations, they have alliances where they can actually contribute towards your pension. So even though they are not required by law under the private pension plans, they can come together as a group strategically and begin to contribute towards the retirement of their employees. Now, there's a difference between a pension, a regular financial income that comes to retirees, and a gratuity. A gratuity is a one-time lump sum payment given to an employee upon retirement. It's not a regular income that comes to you at the end of the month. It's a one-time lump sum payment. And there are basic differences that actually do that. In a pension, it's monthly or regular payment. It's done monthly. At the end of the month, you receive a pension. But your gratuity is done immediately you retire. It's a large bulk sum of money that's given to you. Oh, thank you for actually working with us. You spent 35 days in service, and to appreciate you, we want to give you this amount of money. That amount of money is called a gratuity. And the pension is paid by the pension fund administrators in Nigeria under the structure of the Nigerian Pension Commission. But your gratuity is paid by your employer. It's not a mandatory thing, but it's a benefit for appreciating you for spending your life and your energy and your time in an organization. Now, the pension is based on contributions, but the gratuity is not based on contribution. You don't contribute towards your gratuity. No, you contribute towards your pension, not your gratuity. And for those who want to come into the pension plan, in Nigeria, you have to come through the contributory pension schemes. But for your gratuity is determined by your employer. So an employer has someone who is retiring in 2025. An employer can say, oh, based on this amount of years, this person A has spent with the company, we want to give them an amount of money to appreciate them for their service. That amount of money, as I said earlier, is called a gratuity. And it's a short-term period, unlike a pension, which is a long-term. And your pension can be paid to your dependents after, even if you're not alive. That means they can keep paying your pension to your children, to your grandchildren, and to all other people who are depending on you. But for your gratuity, no. You have to sign into law and establish a fact where you want your gratuity to be done. So the major difference between a pension and a gratuity is that a pension is a monthly regular payment and a gratuity is a one-time lump sum. Now, okay, let's dive into the Nigerian Pension Commission. Now, the Nigerian Pension Commission, also called PENCOM, Pension Commission PENCOM, it's the regulatory body overseeing the Nigeria's pension industry. It was established under the Pension Reform Act of 2013. And this is the body in charge of managing and supervising all of the pension funds in the country. So you can settle down to think of, okay, how many people are employed in Nigeria? And out of these many people employed, all of them are contributing towards their pension. Maybe small amounts of like 5,000 naira a month to large amounts of like 500,000 naira a month. Now, a body has been set up by the government called the Nigerian Pension Commission to actually manage these assets, to make sure that if the individual retires, they can guarantee that their money is going to be well spent and well managed. They can guarantee that definitely their pension is going to come to them at the end of the month. They can guarantee that the pension funds will not be mismanaged. And that's why the federal government set up the PENCOM. Now, as of 2024, the total pension fund assets was 22.5 trillion naira. And the total registered retirement savings account holders was 10.58 million. So out in December 2024, as they were doing the analysis for the year, we have a total of 10.58 million people who have been contributing towards their pension fund, which amounted to this 22.51 trillion. And the pension fund managers, because they don't want to engage in very risky advancements, they invest most of your money in government bonds, treasury bills, just to maintain stability and predictable returns. You should know that bonds is a debt by the government and treasury bills is a form of investment asset. So these pension funds are investing in very stable income securities to make sure that at the end of the day, when you retire, you can actually get your money back. And here's a bit of a breakdown of what the pension invested throughout December 2024. Domestic ordinary shares of 2.24 trillion. These are shares, these are companies actually made and built in Nigeria. Foreign ordinary shares, you can see the pension fund allocated 267.99 billion naira to foreign shares. So they actually invest in foreign companies. And federal government securities like bonds, treasury bills, sukuk is 14.11 trillion naira. And this is actually the biggest chunk of their investment assets in 2024. This actually shows you that the pension fund is not a risky investment strategy. The pension fund managers are not risky and allocating funds towards very stable assets. Now, state government securities, these are money used by state governments to actually construct roads, and the pension fund allocated 250.86 billion naira to that. And for corporate debt, the pension fund allocated 2.25 trillion. So in all, their pension fund assets was 22.51 trillion naira. And to actually manage the types of accounts that people will actually contribute to, we have the type of funds in Nigeria allocated to different age groups. So if you're above 50 and if you're in your 20s, you can't have the same type of fund allocation. So the pension fund actually allocates different type of funds based on your age and your contribution to actually manage those investment funds. And the first is Fund 1, which is not automatically assigned and you must request to join. And it offers a higher exposure to risky investments. They can use Fund 1 to actually do their maybe risky investments, quote unquote, like stocks, like bonds, with the potential for higher returns. And it's ideal for young people who just want to start making an investment towards their retirement. Now, Fund 2, which is the default fund for contributors, this is the working age individuals fund, Fund 2. And it's a mix of safe and growth-oriented investments offering moderate risks and moderate returns. Those who are still working but are pushing to your mid-career levels are actually put in Fund 2, age 49 and below. Fund 3 is the default fund for contributors. And this is designed for older workers nearing your retirement. So it's from age 50 to above. Because you are in your 50s, you don't want to actually take any risks in investing in riskier investment assets. And that's why Fund 3 was delegated. Fund 4 is the retiree fund. And Fund 4 means people are already withdrawing their pensions from the federal government. And Fund 4 is created to protect and preserve the retirement savings. So all the retirement money that you contributed from your 20s to age 50 to when you retire, you are allocated to Fund 4 to actually manage that investment assets and make sure that it's worthwhile. Definitely. So if, let's say, you become unemployed before you are 50, can you still make a withdrawal for your pension fund assets to actually stabilize yourself? The answer is yes. The pension commission, PENCOM, actually allows you to withdraw 25% of your balance subject to approval with the Nigerian Pension Commission. So you can be able to maintain yourself even while you are unemployed. Now, the Nigerian pension system is designed to protect your retirement savings while offering different investment strategies based on age and risk appetite. Some for younger people who are just started making a retirement decision, and some for older people who are approaching their mid-careers and others who are retiring. So it's structured in a way where everyone can actually begin to make an investment decision towards their retirement. But come to think of it, there's something actually even going on. Even if the pension fund assets in 2024 was 22.5 trillion naira, and the pension commission is actually allocating a chunk of it into low risk returns. The problem we are dealing with is actually bigger than the pension commission, and which is inflation. Because you are actually allocating a huge chunk to very stable assets, you have to deal with issues like inflation, currency devaluation, and economic downturns while maintaining those pension funds assets. So even if the Nigerian Pension Commission is actually allocating this, there are bigger issues to deal with that's making the value of your pension funds, instead of increasing, but decreasing. And these values are inflation risks. We noticed throughout from last year to this year, Naira went from 800 to 15 to 16 to 18. Now it's floating between 1,600, 1,600. That instability is actually making your pension funds that you've saved over years, making it decrease instead of actually increasing. And I'll show you a vivid example. In June 2014, the total pension fund assets was 4.42 trillion naira, which was an equivalent of 28.39 billion naira. Now, fast forward to June 2019, the pension fund was 9.33 trillion naira, equivalent of 30. So you can say, okay, the Nigerian pension fund assets increased from 28 billion to 30 billion, close to $2 billion worth of investment, proudly. But see June 2014, the pension fund assets was 20.48 trillion naira. But the amount, the real value of that 20.48 trillion naira was almost half, 14.76 trillion naira. So you can say, even if the pension funds were actively investing in their so-called assets, quote and unquote, the value of the money they were invested in was actually reducing and reducing and reducing. Now, okay, this was June 2024. They'll still release another report for June 2025. You can't now think of it that, oh, if your money is actually reducing in the long run, that means the allocation, the fund allocation to the investments that the pension commission makes, it's not actually what they were. Because the inflation went up, the Naira value, Naira to dollar exchange rate went up. There has been market volatility. We didn't know we are going to have a war. We didn't know we are going to have a COVID. And various uncertainties have happened that are making the pension fund assets are actually reduced from their initial values. But what if they had a change of mind? What can they do to actually balance this up so that the pension fund assets can increase in value? And this is where the price of gold comes in, where the value of gold comes in. If 10% of that calculation was actually done in gold, 10% of the pension fund was actually done in gold, you could have actually made way far more money than you would have made if it wasn't done. So you have in June 2014, it's just a table of the pension fund assets that was $23.39 billion, 4.42 trillion naira. We had an exchange rate of 155.68 from naira to dollar, and the average price of gold was $1,266 an ounce. If the pension fund make a decision within June 2014 that, okay, we are going to allocate 10% of the value of our money with gold, and instead of doing the stocks, bonds, and treasury bills, sukuk bonds, and every other thing they did, if they made a decision to actually allocate 10% of their value in gold, they would have reported a total of 9.84 trillion in June 2019 instead of the 9.33 trillion that they actually did. Now, if they made the decision and still did a 10% valuation based in gold in June 2019, they would have reported 27.12 trillion naira. Now, these are figures I'm not calling out of it in a There's a process, there's a calculations called net present value, which you can Google it online, where you can actually see what the pension fund assets would have been if 10% of it was actually calculated in gold. You have the average gold price, you have the exchange rate, and you can actually do this calculation yourself to see that 20.48 trillion as reported would have been far more than 27 trillion naira. And let's say, okay, the pension fund decided to invest 30% of their money in gold. Instead of reporting 9.33 trillion naira in June 2019, they would have reported 10.88 trillion naira. And instead of reporting 20.48 trillion in June 2024, they would have reported 42.50 trillion in. So you can see that their money, you can see that the value of their money would have actually increased far more than they would have actually expected it. They would have actually reported 42.50 trillion instead of the 20.48 trillion that they actually did. And this shows the intrinsic value of gold in the pension funds. And that's why we are showing you evaluation, why you would have necessarily invested in gold. And gold is not some arbitrary asset. It's used by the governments, it's used by central banks. And if the pension fund made a decision to actually allocate a total portion of their assets in gold, they would have made far more money than they would have ever made. Just buying the gold and keeping it, not even touching it, not even trying to sell it, just buying it and holding it, they would have made far more money with their assets. Now, in explanation, if 10% of the pension fund was done in June 2017, the fund would be worth 9.84 trillion in 2019 and 27.12 trillion. If 30% was done in June 2014, it would be 10.88 trillion and 42.50 trillion in June 2024. After this webinar, maybe I would send you the Excel sheet so you can actually play with the numbers and see how they would have done 40%, 50%, even if 100% of their money in gold. So you can see that the pension fund, the risk strategy, the asset valuation, the pension fund managers need to take a second look at their assets so that the total value will not actually go half, but actually double way more than expected. And another strategy, in December 2024, they reported 22.51 trillion. If even 5% was actually allocated in gold, 5%, knowing that the chart has already been displayed that showed that gold did 1 to 1.5% in Nigerian naira. If 5% of the pension fund was allocated in 2024, they would have made 23.88 trillion naira. So their money they would have actually gotten 1 trillion naira worth of value, far more than they would have expected if they would have made an allocation in gold. This graph is gotten from the monthly Gold World Campus from In Gold We Trust, a reputable asset management company for gold as an investment. And you can see a table that's showing that if the pension fund value would have basically doubled if 10% gold allocation was done in 2024. And why we are hammering on this issue is that if the government, the central banks, higher institutions, investment managers are allocating their networks in gold, how much more protecting the value and worth of retirees by using gold as an investment asset for the pension fund? It makes far more sense to them so that even, okay, if they don't want to approach instead of investing in foreign assets, in foreign shares, they can actually do a 5% valuation in gold today and wait till the end of the day to actually revalue their portfolio. And they would see a tremendous increase in the value of their portfolio as they would have done. So if you are working for the pension fund or you're here, we actually recommend that we should amend your investment guidelines to include a 5 to 10% allocation to gold-backed assets. This means that, we are not saying that you should invest all your money in gold. Clearly not. But a 5% allocation, a 10% allocation will do far much more needed than necessary. You can see in 2024, the price almost doubled from 22 to 25 trillion naira. So allocating a 5 to 10% allocation in gold will actually make more sense for you. And they should educate Nigerians on gold wealth certification, which Dukia Gold is already doing. Should develop gold pension products. Now, the pension fund account will need to move through a series of regulatory hurdles to actually make sure that investments in gold actually make sense. But with Dukia Gold, we have already done that. We have created a platform where you, as an individual, if you don't need to wait for 2-3 years for the pension funds to actually sit down, have meetings with all the stakeholders and begin to revalue their assets, you as an individual should actually revalue your own assets by dedicating a chunk of it to gold. Now, which brings me to my next topic. Why is gold essential for retirement planning? Why is gold necessary? Okay, I've been buying gold as a jewelry since 2020, but why should I start dedicating it for my retirement? I've been using the US dollar to do. I've been buying the euro bond, the dollar bond from various companies. Why do I now need to start rethinking my assets in gold? And here's why. Gold has universal acceptance. Gold has been a store of value for years and a medium of exchange in thousands of currencies, regardless of which country you are, either in Nigeria, in South Africa, in the United States, in Switzerland, in Dubai, in Qatar, Somali, Namibia, whatever. Gold is a medium of exchange. But even the US dollar, which most of you are actually investing in, is as dominant as the reserve currency actually is this still subject to the policies of the United States government and to the health of the US economy? If Donald Trump makes a valid statement and increase the inflation rate from 3% to 10%, the value of the US dollar will actually diminish. But gold is not subject to any policy of that government. It has a universal acceptance anywhere. In some countries, you can actually use a currency that is devoid of their own native currency, unlike Nigeria, where you can have Naira and dollar in your account. Clearly, in some countries, you only need to have their own currency in that account. An example is Brazil. If you travel to Brazil, you can't even use Naira in Brazil. You have to convert everything to the Brazilian currency to make investments. But gold is universally accepted. The second is gold has intrinsic value. Why? Because of its scarcity. Gold is not mined like sand, and its cultural significance. You see the gold festivals in India. Gold has in itself an intrinsic value. Unlike fiat currency, which, like example, the United States dollar, which is dependent on interest rates and inflation rates and whatever rates the government comes up with. Gold is valuable intrinsically. Even if it's not used as a medium of exchange, it is used as a valuable precious metals to exchange across borders and make sure that investments are actually worthwhile. Definitely, gold is a hedge against inflation. Historically, as the price of paper currencies erodes, the price of gold tends to rise, preserving its purchasing power. And this graph actually shows you that from 1966 to 2003, where the users have been borrowing money every year to fund their assets, the price of gold has definitely and dramatically did an increase. So as the United States, as every government in the world continues to borrow money from the IMF, the World Bank, the whatever bank that they need to actually fund their operations, the price of gold remains a hedge against the value because it still increases the same way with debt. The fourth thing is diversification and portfolio protection. Investors, central banks, as I said, governments, institutional fund managers use gold to diversify their portfolios because it is negatively correlated with traditional asset classes. Gold is not like stock and bonds that depends on the performance of a company or the performance of a government. No, it has a negative correlation with those assets because when stock markets decline, like the real estate crash from 2008, 2009, gold definitely retains or even increases its value. Gold is independent from political risks. As I said earlier, it's not tied to any particular government. No government can say, oh, we want to shut down the gold holdings for the rest of the year. No. But unlike fiat currency, like the Nigerian Naira is tied to the performance of the Central Bank of Nigeria. The USD is tied to the Federal Reserve. The yen is tied to the People's Bank of China. Gold is not tied to any governmental policy. The next is liquidity. Gold is very highly liquid. There's an exchange called the Commodities Exchange where gold is traded globally, even far more than the euro. So gold is highly liquid. It doesn't shut down. It doesn't do market days. Oh, if there's a presidential election, you know that the United States stock markets will be closed. But in gold doesn't have a closing and opening period. As long as people are demanding for gold and receiving gold, they use gold to trade. Now, there's no credit tricks. It doesn't need the signature. If you look at your Naira notes, you will see the signature of the central bank governor authenticating the fact that it's valid, but you can't authenticate gold, even though we have methods to actually know that the value of gold is 99.99% and institutions to bet your gold, which you can actually do yourself. It doesn't carry any financial institutions paper. You can't say, okay, I want to exchange gold by 9 p.m. Oh, the bank is not open. No, no bank can actually hold gold, unlike the Naira and the funds. And sovereign debt crisis, gold offers a form of protection during crisis or when national economies default. This means that it's a highly reliable asset in the international markets. In contrast, the United States dollar, even as dominant as it is in the reserve currency, is subject to fluctuations. And the reason why I'm using the US dollar is because the US dollar is the world's reserve currency as of today. But gold actually plays a far more overarching role than the United States dollar in the fact that it is no credit risks. It protects against sovereign debt crisis. It's a hedge against inflation. It has intrinsic value and it has universal acceptance. And Dukia Gold has actually created a way, a means for you to actually participate in this highly liquid market using our website, which I'll talk about in the next details. And some of you say, okay, I'm retiring, but I have stocks, I have bonds, I have like real estate. I don't need to use gold to do anything. I have landed properties in Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt. I have stocks both in national and international companies. The federal government, I'm investing in the federal government bonds. But the problem is that your assets are actually inflected by things actually bigger and higher than the federal government, like inflation, like the market volatility, like liquidity, like long-term good potential, like the maintenance. Real estate needs to be maintained every month. You can't buy a house and leave it for 5 years and come back and see the house the same way. It needs maintenance. You can't, there's no need to maintain gold. Stocks, long-term good potential. Even though gold has a high-term good potential, real estate, you can actually even sell the real estate to make money. But it needs a long process. If you there's a medical emergency today, and I have 300 landed properties in Lagos, I'll have to find a long way of selling those properties to actually make my medical emergency. But unlike gold, clearly not. I just need to tap on a sell button and receive the value of my gold based on the spot price of the London Bullion Market Association. And that's why gold is better, far better than all these other asset classes. Now, for you listening to this, okay, Emmanuel, you've told me a lot about retirement. You've told me how gold has done this. How do I do gold as part of my retirement plan? Okay, I'm under the contributory pension scheme. My company has a distinct, okay, I'm not even working it for anybody. I'm self-employed. How do I incorporate gold into my retirement plan? The first things first is to determine the right allocation. I've showed you the miracle that gold will, it's 5 to 10% in 2024. But for you, you need to meet your financial advisor and determine, oh, gold did this. How can I start allocating the right percentage of my portfolio for my retirement into gold? You need to sit down with your financial advisor and make a very strategic decision against your retirement. Because the thing to think of is this: eventually you retire, whether you believe or like it or not. There'll be a day you will stop working, clearly. So how do I make sure that I get the best value for my money while I'm still working? And you need to make that decision. The next is to choose your best gold investment option. People who want to start investing in gold, they don't go to buy gold jewelry. Clearly not. They don't go to buy gold chains or gold watches. No. They use investment grade gold to determine their benefits. And you can invest who prefer direct ownership, and you can invest in gold-backed retirement accounts, which Dukia Gold offers. Or you can invest in bullions, the coins, the bars, the pool allocated gold that actually gives you strategic benefits for your gold. The next is to decide on your storage and custody plan. Oh, okay, I'm investing in gold. How do I keep it? Now, you can choose to keep a gram of gold in your house. Currently, a gram of gold is 220,000, and you can choose to keep it in your house. But how safe would the gold be? You're now thinking of, oh, what is the safety allocated with this gold? And Dukia Gold offers a platform where the gold is vaulted directly with Brinks. The same way the London Bullion Market Association vaults with Brinks, and various other investors and central banks vault with Brinks, Dukia Gold's gold is actually vaulted with Brinks, offering a high security and transparent method of the gold holdings. And on our platform, you can actually check. It's very live that you see the value of your portfolio in gold. Next, you need to monitor and rebalance your portfolio. You can just, while you're drinking coffee in the office, while you're traveling, while you're with your kids, you can open from the comfort of your homes and monitor your portfolio. Oh, did it do well today? And you need to now think that gold is a long-term strategy. You're planning towards your retirement, and you won't want to plant a seed today and harvest it tomorrow. You actually leave the seed in the soil for it to bear you the required fruits. And you leave, in that same vein, you need to leave your gold allocations with Dukia Gold for you to give me the retirement benefits you want. Last is the tax and withdrawal rules. And you don't need to bother yourself with the tax and withdrawals, because you are investing in a platform that is duly registered by the Ministry of Solid Minerals Development, making sure that every compliance we follow is actually vetted by the SCUMO, the AML, and every required law to make sure that your gold is actually resilient and worthwhile. So, okay, what are the common concerns you have? You say, okay, it makes sense. I know what to do. I need to talk to my financial advisor. I need to start with Dukia Gold. I need to do something necessary. But I have a problem. Gold prices fluctuate daily based on market conditions. Doesn't that make gold as risky as stocks and bonds? Clearly, gold experiences short-term volatility, but its long-term trend outpaces inflation and maintains purchasing power. We showed you the graph for 2024 where gold did 121.5%. No stock, even the Nigerian Stock Exchange, throughout 2024, it did 37%. No bank can guarantee you 121.5%. Clearly, even your savings account cannot do that. But gold long-term trend actually outpaces inflation and maintains value for your money. Now, okay, you say, okay, gold is a physical asset. How easy is it to convert to cash? Clearly, with Dukia Gold, you can do that from the comfort of your phone. You can actually sell your gold, buy your gold whenever you need. And because it's one of the most liquid assets available, it's a global market ensuring that quick conversions of gold to cash at market rates is valued. The next question you have, okay, how has gold helped retirees preserve wealth in an economic crisis? For those who have retired, how did gold help them preserve wealth? Oh, look at the global financial crisis of 2008. Look at the COVID-19 pandemic. Look at the Nigeria's inflation in 2024. Gold has consistently performed well during periods of economic uncertainty. And we can honestly guarantee you that there will be economic uncertainty, whether you choose to invest in gold or not. Even as brilliant and as commendable as the financial analysts of Nigeria, headed by the central bank, they will be economic crisis because of the wars, the impending wars, the valuations, the Trump tariffs, and every other tariff that's necessary to boost the economy. So we are assuring you that they will be, but what can you do to actually protect yourself against this economic uncertainty? And the best platform to do that is gold. Because if you are a retiree and you start investing in gold, you are looking at a stable, a liquid, and accessible and historically resilient portfolio for yourself, for your children, and for your grandchildren. As I said earlier, this is the chart showing gold in various emerging currencies throughout 2024. And you can see the value of Naira at the end, so big that it did 121.5%. Even in 2023, you can see the value of the Naira here, Egyptian currency, and various currencies that the gold actually went up. And developed market currencies, you can see the USD, 27.8%. You can see the British pounds, 28.6%, and the euros, 34.2% across the charts. And 2023, the same thing happened. So we are not actually stating facts that cannot be proved. These reports are already available online using the In Gold We Trust, the foremost research analysts for gold in the world. So these reports are online, and you can do your due diligence of checking whether they are verifiable and truthful. So our essence is to invest in gold for your retirement. Start today, not tomorrow. Start today to actually plan for your retirement using gold as the medium and the best form of exchange. So, okay, how is Dukia Gold licensed to do that? Why should I even believe you, Manuel? Okay, you work at Dukia Gold, but how do I know that what you're saying is true? Clearly, you have to the LBMA's strict compliance policies, and we are incorporating regular audits and responsible sourcing practice to make sure that your gold is actually free and beneficial to you whenever you need it. You're registered with the Ministry of Solid Minerals Development, so we cannot even go under. The Ministry of Solid Minerals Development is there to actually make sure that everything we do is licensed and is enforced with national and international regulations. The next thing for you is to actually patronize only approved gold bullion merchants. Ensure that they have an office in Nigeria with a valid MSSD license. You confirm the stock of their gold and precious metals, and make sure that they have fulfillment channels and trading distribution products to make sure that your gold is actually the comfort of your homes. You can look through our website and you see that we have fulfilled all these risks to make sure that you, from the comfort of your home, can safely begin to invest in your retirement. In essence, gold is essential for retirement planning because of its universal acceptance, intrinsic value, hedge against inflation, diversification and portfolio protection, independence from political risks, liquidity, no credit risks, sovereign debt crisis, currency devaluation, and trade risks. Gold is our foremost and best method for planning against retirement. And this is a call for you, even if you can advise your company to do that, but you yourself, you can take a first step to plan for your retirement automatically using the Dukia Gold platform. And we have created a method where you can, even at the comfort of your homes, without having to necessitate all the hassles, deduct into a savings plan, whereby at the end of every month, you can invest as little as 5,000 naira, 10,000 naira, 100,000, 500,000 into gold to make sure that your retirement is valued. And you need to now lock it up using our platform for your children. You can start investing for your children from, let's say you're having a child in 2025, clearly, and you can create a savings plan till the child reaches 18 years before you give them the valuable assets that is necessary for you and your family. We are definitely all going to retire someday. So the onus is on you to actually invest in assets that can give you the best return for your money. And this is the essence of this presentation. Thank you so much for attending this webinar. And here we take your questions and answers. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Thank you once again for
all right. We'll
clear...
open the floor. If you have questions, concerns, you can please address. Chairman, sir, will you like to say something?
Again, thank you, Emmanuel, for a very well presented paper. It's clear that gold is essential for retirement planning. It's also very clear that we will all start work, start life, and prayerfully retire in good health to enjoy.
Okay, if you have questions, concerns, or automations about the platform, please let us know.
Emmanuel, thank you, and I hope everyone can hear me. We would like to thank you, Emmanuel, for your presentation. We'd also like to ensure that we say a very huge thank you to all who have listened carefully at this presentation. If you have any question, please bring it up. Type it. I'm sure that we'll be able to respond to it. I'm also very grateful that Emmanuel has shown everyone the essence and reason behind living a good life. during, and after work. Retirement age is a very important age for anyone who has witnessed age 60 to age 100. When you get to your 60th year, you look back with nostalgia to the many places that you have visited. And of course, you check your bucket list of the many other places you would like to visit. One of the places, unfortunately, you will visit will be a hospital. You better have money on that day, or the wealth to be able to defend your health on that day. Manuel has said it very clearly. Please put some money away, but money in cash will depreciate because of inflation and will lose value because currencies just naturally sink. But if you can, and if you will, convert part of your liquid asset into a more solid asset called gold, then of course, it's obvious that you will be able to preserve and be able to have a better valuation for your wealth and for you to be able to meet certain vagaries that would occur in those times. Again, gold is better than cash because cash always has an exchange rate issue. If you look at it this way, 99% of us who work in good organizations get a gold wristwatch at some time in our life, maybe 20th anniversary, 25th, 30th, they give you a gold wristwatch. What you should ask is, the gold wristwatch that was bought 10 years ago at a particular value might be purchased this year at almost 500% of that same value. What does it say? If you had been smart enough to buy gold 10 years before then, what it simply means is that you will have 500% of that same value in your hand. Emmanuel has shown that, and he showed it very, very even in the way that the current Nigerian pension portfolio is being managed. Yes, the pension fund needs to change its strategy. Yes, they could not basically afford to put gold in the mix of investments before Dukia provided this platform. And I must thank the IT staff who have stabilized this unique trading platform that now allows everyone to be able to buy and sell gold. And I like what Emmanuel has said. While the law takes its course in making sure that everyone can invest, especially the PENCOM and the PFAs, you as an individual can at least help yourself right now by assuring yourself that you allocate a sensible part of your daily income, monthly income into gold, and you keep it for the rainy day. Whether you are planning 5 more years to retirement or you are actually in retirement, you have collected your gratuity, be careful, don't keep it all in cash. Allocate some definitely to gold so that when that day comes, 2 years, 3 years time, you have an asset that you are certain has kept its intrinsic value. It's also helped you against inflation and it's of course diversified your portfolio. The more important one that I will continue to say is buy allocated gold. Buy allocated gold because it's the deliverable gold. That's what we sell. It carries no credit risk because at the end of the day, the gold is yours. It's in your name, and you can always get it delivered to you when you need to have it delivered. But of course, if you are thinking of safety, security, and the ability to easily convert it back into cash, in my experience, that Dukia Gold will be a better choice because then you have a platform where you can easily say, I wish to sell back, and the sell and the resell that can be done for you and the liquidity can be provided for you is made as instant as possible. We are going ahead by the grace of God in the next 2-3 weeks to introduce to you the Dukia Club card. And that Dukia Club card would certainly enhance the ability for you to convert your gold from a physically held asset, of course, into an asset that can easily be financialized or converted back into cash. We've done that already your sell button, but now we are going to be able to empower you to actually use a physical card across the POS and ATM network. And by grace of God, please keep yourself posted if you are interested in a Dukia Gold card that allows you to be able to touch and spend your gold when you most need it, not like Emmanuel says, keep gold not for daily transactions, but keep gold as a strategic investment. So if you are saying in 2 years' time, I wish to travel, in 6 months' time, I wish to travel, save up in gold. When you then need it, then it's easy for you to convert it back to currency. Again, watch for Trump's tariff and trade risks. It's going to loom large over the next 2 to 3 years. It will take another 2 to 3 years after to be able to adjust. So elevated inflation, elevated risks over the next 5 years keeps giving everyone a lot of concern. But with God, all things are possible. So when God makes it possible, ensure that you also protect yourself by putting some of your investment in gold. On this happy note, I want to say thank you very, very much to everyone who has joined us today's seminar. I would like to yield the microphone to Emmanuel to let's try and respond to the many questions that have been posted online. I thank you very much once again. Emmanuel, over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. There's a question on the insurance for gold. We know that the FDIC, the Federal Deposit Insurance Commission, has protection for deposits of up to 500,000 naira. So the customer, Mr. Ridwan, is asking for the gold procurement, and how does it work? Would you like to take that question, sir?
Yeah. So basically, we are not a bank. We are not a bank. When you look at a bank, of course, you want to have your cash insured. So you have the FDIC. We sell physically deliverable gold. On the day you buy your gold, the gold is yours, your name is allocated to you. So we don't have any risk over that asset anymore. The risk is transferred. And the risk that is transferred is that the gold is physically deliverable. It's like having gold in your pocket or in your hand. If you choose, of course, to have it in your house, you fill the form, they go through the logistics, it's delivered to you physically. Therefore, we are quite different from a bank that keeps your asset in a fungible box. What does that mean? If I brought 500,000 naira to a bank today, and somebody else brought another 1 million to the bank today, and somebody else came and wanted to withdraw cash, the bank does not segregate between 500 that I brought and the 1 million that the other customer brought, and then say the man that is making a demand for 500 has not even brought any money yet, but all he did was bring a check from somebody that has another account. So the bank merges your cash. And because it's people, you have to be very careful that in the unlikely event anything happens, when you ask the bank to give you back your money, you must be sure that there's an insurance that enables you to say, if they fail, they'll give you. In the event of gold, and that's the joy of keeping physically allocated gold, because the gold is not in a mix, the gold is actually physically deliverable to you. You don't suffer or carry that risk at all. And again, we'll urge you, as you keep keeping your money in banks and other financial institutions, remember to patronize a gold bullion merchant and buy a bit of physically deliverable gold. Once again, if trouble comes, which it does from time to time, you are not going to be waiting for one FDIC or NDIC or somebody to say, I'm going to pay you 500,000 in lieu, when actually what you are worth is maybe 10 million or 20 million. Buy $10 million worth of gold. $10 million worth of gold is there, is allocated your name. If you need it, simply demand for it. It must be delivered to you. We don't keep your gold. We actually keep it with a custodian called Brinks. On the day they make a demand for it, it's automated. You feel it the same way you will feel a deposit slip when you want to register with us. You pay, and then so again when you want to withdraw it, the standard procedure is there, and all that is between you and your gold is just the logistics of delivering it to you. So for us, yes, FDIC is important. If we were a bank, we are not a bank. We will not pretend to be one. We're a pure bullion merchant. As we move forward, we're partnering with banks and other financial institutions to be able to deliver gold to you faster and to be able to, again, assist you in monetizing your gold whenever you need it. Like I said, watch out over the next 1 or 2 months. Certainly, you would hear about Dukia Gold Club Card, and that Dukia Gold Club Card will technically assist you in financialization and monetization of your gold if you need it. Once again, that gold is allocated, it's your gold. It's like you wearing a gold chain on your neck and then that, oh, a house is boggled. No, your gold is on your neck. It doesn't care, and you don't need to worry about what happened in the house. You need to worry about the fact that you are carrying that gold in your name, it's allocated gold. We are different from somebody who sells you what I call fungible assets that is difficult to say, oh, where's my own? And this is all together. No, everyone has an individual account. The amount of gold that you own or bought is known, is reconciled to your name. The valuation of your gold, whether in weight and or value, is also known and is unique to you. So that's one great unique advantage of actually putting your money in gold. I hope I have explained that clearly. Emmanuel, over to you.
Oh, thank you so much, sir. I've looked through the chat and there's no major question we haven't addressed. So let me take you on a quick overview through the platform. So, okay, I'll stop sharing my screen right now and I'll just take you through the platform so you actually see that it's real.
While you are opening the platform, one thing I should also remember to include is that Brinks carries a major insurance on their own for themselves and, of course, for all of us who keep our assets with them. And because gold is physical, God forbid, even if anything happened, they will return you to the position in which you are in just before that incident took place, which is you've kept 1 kilogram with them. Of course, you get 1 kilogram back. It's not your business how much it costs them to get the 1 kilogram. What you want is just your 1 kilogram. And then when they give you back your 1 kilogram, if you bought it at $59,000, fantastic, and it's currently $90,000, that's what you get back. So you're not at any time. Again, for the PENCOM, like I said, PENCOM needs to have a platform that allows them to trade gold easily. We have created it now, so we will continue to educate everyone, and it's a 3-way street. We have created the platform. You who need to make sure that your assets are better protected also need to help us do a stakeholder engagement with PENCOM, with your institutions, with your organization, with your employer, to make sure that when they go for meetings, when they're sending the check for your pension, there's a demand that part of it should be kept in gold, not all in cash, not all in risk assets or non-risk assets. If they can invest in commercial papers, I think it makes much more sense to invest in gold. Like it showed gold return in excess of 120% last year. There was no commercial paper that was priced beyond 30-40% last year. There's no risk assets in the monetary industry as a monetary instrument that got more than 27-30% last year. Only gold on its own basically outperformed and out in a returned 120% and more last year in the many asset classes in Nigeria. That again, I talk about stability and I talk about tangible investment. I'm not talking about placing a bet. In gold, you're sure that you have a physical asset that you're dealing with. And we are not talking also about ETFs We're actually talking about physically deliverable gold at all times. Thank you, Emmanuel.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for the answers to the questions. Now I'm going to take you on a very brief, quick overview of the platform and how you can easily navigate it. Now the website is new.dukiapreciousmetals.co. new.dukiapreciousmetals.co. I'll include it in the chat so that each of you can actually visit the platform. When you come to this new page, you have a list of information for you to actually get acquainted with us and to who we are and what we do. You can see that we are the foremost and largest full-service bullion dealer in Nigeria. You can see some videos to help you make an investment decision about what gold is. And you can see the market price for gold. So you can see how gold did in 1 year ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago, and see how the performance of your investments is in real world. And our favorite this is the pool allocated calculator, because we know that people cannot actually invest in large bullions like 1 gram or 1 ounce, but we have our allocated calculator where you can invest with as minimum as 5,000 naira. So if you include the 5,000 naira, you'll be getting 0.023 grams worth of gold for you and your friends. Now you have the discrete bars and coins. So if you are an institutional investor, which we actually recommend for you to be one, you see the gold bars and coins available. They range from 1 gram to 10 grams to 50 grams, and the equivalent worth in naira. Currently, it's 1 gram is 212,000. 10 grams is 1.937, all within this time frame. So, and the first things you can actually do if you're a previous customer is to register. Now, when you register on account with Dukia Gold, you have to choose either use an individual account or joint account between you and your spouse, you and your children, you and your business partner, or a corporate account between you and an investment firm. Most of our investors use individual accounts, but some of our investors and family members, they like to do joint accounts between them and their families. If you click on individual accounts, you have to fill up a form stating where you are, your name, your phone number, your nationality, and every other thing necessary. If you click on a joint account, you still fill up some personal information, both for you and for the second person. And if you fill up a business corporate account, you fill up your company's registration number and all the valid details of that company which you're investing in. If you register on the platform, you will receive a unique username and password, which will be used to log in into the platform. And when you log into the platform, you have an access to a dashboard. The dashboard shows you the value of your gold and other precious metals that we are introducing into the platform for silver, platinum, for lithium, and for everything that we are actually giving gold to do. You see your account balance here and other details required for you to actually make the process worthwhile. If you want to buy gold, you can select the kind of gold that you want. We actually advise most people, if you don't know what to start with and you have the money, you want to dedicate a portion of your funds to invest, we recommend that you start with the discrete bars. And discrete bars range from 1 gram to 10 gram to 50 gram. You can start from there. Or if you don't even have the money at all, you can start from as low as 5,000 naira and buy pool allocated gold. So you can see on this left-hand bar, you can see the various assets you have, and you can see the various transactions. I saw a question concerning the savings platform. And this is what I actually talked about, that you can begin to save with gold for your retirement. You can just create a savings plan towards your retirement, make the payments and begin to save automatically every month or every week for that initial account. So if you want to buy an amount, you follow this route. And if you want to fund the account, you use two different methods, either with bank transfer or with Paystack, whichever one that works for you. But when you proceed, let's say I want to buy gold worth 5,000 naira. I just started. So I can just impute 5,000 naira worth of gold, 5,000 naira worth of gold, and click on buy gold. Confirm the payment, show to continue, confirm. Now, it showed me an error. Why? Because I'll need to proceed with the BVN verification. And the BVN verification is actually important for you to actually get to the next step of your details. Our BVN verification is done with a third-party service, the Nigerian Interbank Settlement Systems, through PayThrough. And those are the people that actually verify your BVN and make you eligible to go through this platform. Now, we've received a lot of complaints concerning the BVN. And although we are trying to make the BVN portal stable, we are rest assured that if any of your BVN transactions doesn't work through, we will liaise with the interbank settlement system and make sure that the BVN is approved as soon as possible. After the BVN is approved, you proceed to complete your KYC, where we'll need a valid proof of address and your valid ID. This will actually authenticate your amount on the platform and make you eligible to go through different screens. So that's about it on the Dukia Gold platform. You can still log out of the platform and still see the varying price. On this section where you can click your name, you will see your different account information. Okay, which type of account do you have with us? And see what your personal details, your address, your bank information, and everything that will make you eligible to actually use an account with us. And one of the requests we get is that people who are submitting their KYC details, when they submit their valid ID, either their driving license or NIN, people submit password protected details like their bank statements. Please don't submit any password protected information for complete KYC. As the name implies, we won't even have access to read it or verify it or actually make a review. And that is the common complaints we tend for people having their KYCs denied. So whenever you are uploading an information, please try to make sure that it's not password protected so that we in-house can review, complete, and make sure that your process goes through as smooth as possible. So that's about it on the Dukia Gold platform. Thank you so much. If you have any questions navigating the platform, just let me know. I'll be reading through the chats.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Again, the platform is easy to register, get onboarded. The platform is also engineered such that your KYC allows us and yourselves to feel and trade safely. Gold is a controlled metal, either in Nigeria or anywhere in the world. Therefore, we must understand that we report on the SCUMU. We are also reporting on what they call anti-money laundering issues on the platform. Yeah, the platform will continue to improve how to make it work. And what we have also said to ourselves now is that many people come back to ask questions about login and how they can make it easier. We are working very hard to release the application part of it so that it's easy. You just click and then it basically launches for you. So the only good thing is please ensure your KYC is clear. The second reason why that KYC is important, please, is that God forbid, if you need to pass it on to your loved ones, either during a lifetime or if it has to be done in inter-virus, even at death, we are very careful that we are transferring asset to the right person. If we also need to deliver physical gold to you, we need to know that it's your verified address that we are delivering to, and that the KYC of the person receiving it is also the same, so that it's clear to everyone. At all times, you will always be able to access the web page. I think there are two versions of it. The first version has been tested, worked, but we've improved on it. So we have a newer version. That's why you have the word new Dukia platform, right? Just so that everybody knows, am I on the old or on the new platform? With time, we will map two platforms and only retain this very much improved process. We continue to apologize that sometimes the speed of the internet and all the challenges of our service providers make it fairly onerous for you to access us. We don't control MTN, and neither do we control Airtel or any of the providers that provide internet. So sometimes you can't reach us not because we are not here, it's because the internet service provider is not there. The second reason why you may have a challenge is that we use third-party partners sometimes to deliver your message to us or to the person verifying your BVN and to the person who's verifying your BVN. Again, that is being improved and worked on as we speak, so that at all times you can have what they call a success rate of 99.99%. We understand, of course, that it's always difficult to promise 100%, but we're moving every time, every day towards that. The third one is, please, when you register, you would have what they call a proven email address and a proven password. Please always maintain those two privately and make sure that you only communicate with us and also make demands in and out from us on those verified email address, so that we are at all times having a very secured pipe or handshake between you. Don't forget, your email address is an address in a physical virtual form. Our own is also there for you. Use Dukia Gold or use info at, but we would receive that. But when we reach back to you, we only reach back to you on your verified email address. So please make sure that that is clear and make sure that everything around you is clear. I also need to educate further that when you buy allocated gold, you can buy a physically deliverable allocated gold. But like Emmanuel said, we have found some of our customers and stakeholders come and say, I don't have enough money to buy 1 gram. So let me save up to buy 1 gram. Or let me in fact buy the one I can hold. And therefore you can buy as low as 5,000 naira worth of gold. And the computation is done on the internet, right in front of you on the platform. When you do that, what happens is that we, like a man selling Coca-Cola, have a crate of Coke where we have 24 bottles or 12 bottles. When you take 1 bottle, we keep it in your hand, it's allocated to you. The remaining crate, now maybe of 12 minus 1, which will be 11, or 24 minus 1, which will be 23, is left with us. Other people then come and buy and buy and buy, and that's how that crate or that allocated bar is sold to the entire public. Some sell back, and then sometimes some also buys back. But when you are even buying that amount that is allocated to you is known by our directorate of what they call gold holdings, especially in terms of weight and measure, and the controller of metals that basically checks that your gold holding is clear and is in your name. Some of us own fractional gold, so I may own 1 ounce and maybe 0.05 grams. We don't play with you. We ensure that any gold you hold is properly accounted for to 0.003 decimal places, so that at all times you get the maximum value for your asset. I wish you all the very best as you convert your retirement, not just into cash or into savings, but into a much more sustainable and much more durable asset. Is gold. Our mothers used it in the past. Our parents also bought gold at their 50th birthday, whether it was a man or woman. They made sure it was very long. Ask them what has happened to the chain. What they do is in their retirement, when they have a little health challenge, they sell that gold chain, and it has solved many marriages. It has solved many naming ceremonies. It has also sent many children to buy gold today. Make sure you do, and God will be kind to us all. Again, Emmanuel, let me hand over the microphone to you. Again, in concluding, I've told you many things to do. They've issued to you a WhatsApp number. They've also issued to you support desk for anyone who needs support. There is a small animation which is being done to ensure that all of us who need to have enrichment on how to register, how to access your frequently challenge situation on the platform is there. But like I said, we're working very hard to give you a peg tab so that all you need to do is touch your phone and it can launch your account and make sure that you can trade seamlessly without having to log in and log out every time. But what also happens, please remember your PIN so that as your PIN gets to be common to you and frequency of use, your phone and our platform gets its handshake. We're strengthening our website. We've done it. We've introduced to you the HTTPS, which is the new dukiapreciousmetals.co. Don't forget, use it. It will hopefully give you a faster thing. Like I said, the app is coming because we needed to be sure that the platform works. Everybody is there. You will not have any stress anymore. Thank you for joining us early. That's the price we all pay when we are trying to stabilize the system and make sure that it works. You can buy your gold in any currency of your choice. But as you know, we're a Nigerian company, and because we're a Nigerian company, we're very proud to deal in the currency, which is Naira. But of course, if you were to say, I want in pound, dollar, or yen, there's an exchange conversion factor which can be immediately applied, and therefore we are agnostic in terms of currency of payment. But don't forget, we would always trade in Naira because that's a legal tender. Can we sell to you if you are a Nigerian citizen living abroad? The answer is yes. Can we sell to you if you're a Nigerian citizen living in Nigeria? Of course, the answer is yes. Would we one day be able to sell to everybody across the world? The answer is also yes. But like they say, you have to speak Yoruba. It's called Ile Latin Keshorude. First, we must start from local before we become global in terms of allowing everybody. We are working also on stabilizing our international KYC verification platform. Once we conclude on that, I'm very confident that that will be something to be cleared. Whether you want to buy a bar at once or multiples at a time, it's a matter of pick the number, and of course the number would be computed, and the value also will be computed. I know that most people usually would have clicked on one bar, and they need to go back and click on the second and the third and the fourth. Again, if you want to buy 1 gram, it's there. We also know from experience, we think most people buy 1 gram. We've seen a few people buy 5 grams, then we see a lot of people buy 1 ounce. Oftentimes, some good guys come to buy 1 kg, but we know and we'll continue to improve on how you can buy quantity so that you can move forward. The last bit, again, I need to comment on is your asset is protected because it's an allocated gold with the custodian called drinks. It's in your name. It will and must be delivered to you under every circumstance. We don't keep it in our name. Once we've sold it from you to from us to you, is yours. The last good news I need to provide is that we have very good news for all of you. We took some exploration program in the last 5 years, and that exploration program has come back to us, and we are happy to report that we have found a lot more gold from a local source. Therefore, we are able to say to you, by the grace of God, that we'll be able to sell you more gold that is proudly Nigerian and actually sourced from a provenance source that is a Nigerian source. We have access, God being kind, to an excess of 1 million ounces of gold right now as we speak. And we are praying to God that we are able to ramp up the exploration program so that we can announce more and more. As we also progress, we'll go from retail trade to what they call wholesale trade. And this platform will become more interesting, selling gold and maybe very soon selling silver and a few other precious metals or minerals that would make your portfolio properly diversified when we look at it. All things being said, the time now is good enough for us to begin to wrap up, to thank everyone who has spent quality time at today's session. And I'll yield the microphone to the managing director and Emmanuel for closing remarks so that I can. Thank you so much, everyone. Emmanuel, MD.
Thank you so much for wrapping up the questions and helping people actually understand the need to invest in gold for their retirement assets. I've looked through the charts and I've answered most of the questions on support, on navigating the platform, and on providing personal assistance. Definitely, with the new breakthrough, it will be cheaper to buy from Dukia Gold because we are actually building up the refinery and the licensing standards to make sure that you can invest in gold for your retirement for as little as possible. And by the grace of God, we will actually make this true. So I will still hand over to the managing director to just make some final comments before we call it a day. Thank you so much for spending time with us. And I will give her the floor to make some final comments.
Thank you, everyone, for staying through. And I've learned to know a lot, and I believe you've done the same. Retirement doesn't need to be an accident, and we can actually plan ahead so that we are able to at least have some change on a regular basis to maintain ourselves. Yes, we all pray that we have children that take care of us, but it also feels good to be able to afford some things on our own. I hope that this is something that we'll all key into. On this note, I would like to thank everyone, our able and long-standing customers, for joining us each and every time we call on you, and also for your investment, for trusting us with your investment. And I hope that we keep this going and that at the end of the period, we can truly encourage others also to join so we all take the benefit of investing in gold. And just as Emmanuel said a few moments ago, we're actually positioning to do even better than we're doing now, because with the backward integration, what it means is that sourcing will be easier because it's coming from our own mines. So we can actually be as competitive as it can be. And that way, even pricing and everything will be much better. And we thank you for supporting us. Um, Together, we would make this, we will continue to make this work. Thank you, everyone. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thanks so much, MD. I just also wanted to let everyone know it's Women's Day, Mother's Day very soon. And because it's Women's Day, Mother's Day very soon, I would say don't forget to buy gold for your loved ones, especially your mom or your wife or your sister. I want to also personally thank everyone who bought gold during Valentine for their loved ones. Most people who did so have since reported that that was the most enduring gift they ever gave to their girlfriend and their wives. I would beg all of you, please, if you are good and rich enough, rather than buying flour and or perishables for your mom at Mother's Day in March, please be kind enough, buy gold, gift gold to your mom, to your daughter, to your wife, to everybody who's a good woman in your life. The other thing is, like we've said, we will continue to ensure we improve the platform. We will continue to assure you that we would remain competitive in the pricing model. Again, backward integration, the MD says, is going to assist us a lot in ensuring that we remain competitive with our pricing, even though right now we are indeed very, very competitive if you compare us across the world. But the key one is buy gold now, become our customer. Many, many good things are coming your way very soon, especially for those of you who have joined us for a while now. One is when we're doing promotions and benefit programs, you will be the first to know, and there will be many goodies that will come your way thereafter. We're clearing all of the remaining approvals and the remaining things that are required to pass those benefits to you. We know that we exist because you patronize us, and because you patronize us, we ourselves can say to ourselves, we have customers that are delighted. So please reach out to support at Dukia has been shown. Reach out to sales, reach out to info. There's a 24/7 response now from us. We have improved a great deal with our communications with customer. I continue to thank Emmanuel for the clarity of his delivery of the urgency in the message. Don't let retirement happen to you as an accident. You can plan even if it's 10 years away. And even if they have retired you in your current place of work and you are now at home at age 60 working for yourself, don't forget that you can also retire after you have retired. My dad retired at age 60, is 101 years old now, and therefore I know that may be around for another 40 years after you have left one work. So please put away a large sum of money in gold, not necessarily in houses alone, so that if you need to sell 1 ounce, you need to sell 10 grams, you need to sell 1 gram to be able to meet exigencies in your life, that will always be there to assist you to meet it. Once again, Emmanuel, thank you. And you, I say bye-bye to all of us. God be with us till we meet again. We hold this workshop every time on the last Thursday month. Of course, if there's not a public holiday, but even if it's a public holiday, we'll still have it on that Thursday so that more people can enjoy the benefit. Please, we need more people to join and watch and comment on many seminars and webinars and IC program. We are creating a YouTube station that will allow you to actually plug and play back this. In addition, We're also the link of this to you via email, that those who did join us on time can also have time to look at convenient place at any time that's available for them. So please visit our YouTube channel. Visit also your email that is registered with us. You'll get a clear understanding. Spend time practicing on the platform. Very, very soon, the app version of this will be available on Android and on iOS, and some of the challenges
All
they
right.
used to have in launching will be over. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for joining the webinar. If you need more information, please
Bye, everyone.
contact the mails